Hey guys, Scott here. This is what happens if you don't blow dry your hair when you get out of the shower. So today I wanted to talk about an experience I had yesterday because I've been kind of looking for just new things to do in DBD because frankly I'm just running out of stuff to do. It seems like every new killer that comes out, you can't play them because people disconnect every other game. So that's basically no new content's coming out. We don't have a new chapter coming out till June. So I've just been bored. I haven't been playing DBD much. I've been playing Cyberpunk for the first time. I've just been doing just other random things. But for getting back into DBD, I tried to just do something different, just to switch it up how I normally play. And I decided to actually play super sweaty, like actually go for win streaks and stuff like that. Try to get the Wraith, wins in a row world record, which is a terrible idea during this patch with fast track. I don't know why I thought that's a good idea, but I just want to do something different. So I gotta say, spoilers, I didn't get it. That's because I've only been doing this for one day and it's going to take weeks to even get to play the number of games required for that to even happen. But I also didn't really enjoy myself that much. And I actually have a new sympathy for people that actually try to play like in streaks and stuff like that. Not much, but I do have like a little bit of a new shred of sympathy. And that's because when you play super sweaty, when you actually like giga tunnel every game and slug every game and like you go super, super hard. I mean, this happens. I take that deal. The no slowdown. Obviously, I mean, it's the DBD community, and when there's any hardship whatsoever, the default option is just immediately give up. So I actually have like a tiny amount of new sympathy there because, man, it's got to be fucking boring. Because half of your games when you're doing a win streak are just free wins because the first person you tunnel instantly disconnects and then people just stop playing the game. Like half of my games when I did this, I was bored within the first minute because the game was already over because someone gave up because I did legitimately tunnel them off the hook. So that's what I'm saying. Like I actually have a little bit of a little tiny bit because I still think doing that shit in regular matches is massively overkill for the most part. But I do have a new, tiny bit of sympathy for killers that do try to do that stuff because, yeah, people give up just fucking immediately, like even more so than they normally do, which is already a pretty staggeringly high amount in regular DBD. So that was, not particularly interesting. Now, the match that I ended up losing was because I got 11 hooks because I wasn't tunneling or anything like that. And it was against a very coordinated, what I assume was a 4-man on a newly buffed map with the whole pallet density thing. So I struggled there, but I got 11, I was basically en route to get 11 hooks and they didn't disconnect. And the funny part was because I had nearly, everybody on death hook, they said GG at the end of the game because that's how it is. If you play for, losing, basically, you get a nice hearty GG. If you play to actually win, you get people either not playing the game against you at all, or you get the infamous post-game chat where they bitch at you. Now, I am sympathetic towards people if there is a power mismatch. Let me explain what that means. So if I am playing like super sweaty, giga tunneling, super, super hard, and I'm going against babies or people that don't even have all their perks or whatever, and they're just not very good at the game, and I see them complaining in post-game chat, I'm usually just going to go, that's fair, and move on. Like, I'm not even going to give them shit for it because I understand what I'm doing to them is unfair. They are not really supposed to be even going against me. Matchmaking sucks. They have like a really shitty build or they don't even have all their perks yet. Meanwhile, I'm playing like I'm in a tournament. That is a mismatch there. And because of that, I sympathize. I think, yeah, that they're completely justified in complaining about that because that's kind of a ridiculous scenario that they frankly should never even be in to begin with, but it's kind of the game's fault for putting them in that scenario. However, where I don't have sympathy is most of the time because there's usually not an energy mismatch. Really what happens, usually the people that talk the most shit at an endgame are people that were literally sweating as much as you. They were doing the exact same shit you were doing, but on the survivor side. Here's a perfect example. Here, wait. I'm gonna test myself. Boring playstyle, but GG's. Without looking at her build, I guarantee this person has a commodious toolbox, hyper-focus, stakeout, and fast track. Damn it. So close. Like, how do you have the audacity to say that getting hooked twice in a row is a boring playstyle when you are running an entire build where everything on your build is dedicated to you holding M1 on a generator and just watching this happen? This is your whole build. This is the exciting build you're running. This is the whole thing. You see my fingers slightly moving? This is it. This is your entire build. And you have the audacity call something else boring. God, at least if like you actually had like a silly build, like plot twist and flip flop power struggle, then you'd be justified. Because like, yeah, you're having a wacky, silly playstyle and the killer's being super sweaty, but you are literally bringing the most boring possible build a survivor can bring in the entirety of Dead by Daylight. There is nothing more boring than a super juiced up generator build, because it literally means you will be playing as little of the game as possible. Your entire build is dedicated to playing as little Dead by Daylight as you possibly can, which is just, then again, do you have the audacity to complain to someone else about being boring? Fucking mind-blowing. For those people, I have not even 1% of sympathy. You guys are hypocritical bitches. Shut up, you whiny baby. But again, a lot of time, that's not the case, and it's just someone doing a whatever build, and they encounter something super sweaty, and I'm not gonna, feel sorry for him, but I'm also not gonna give him shit for complaining. I'm like in that firmly neutral line where I'm like, I get it, but, also this patch is kind of scary for Killer right now with Fast Track, so kind of some of the shit is needed a lot of the time. Which also brings me to my next point, talking about where the game is currently sided. I have always held the opinion that the game is sided to whoever brings the most busted shit. That's the truth. It's not Killer sided, it's not Survivor sided. It's whoever in that current match brings the most broken things. And typically, that's dictated by perk metas. So really, if you wanted to simplify that statement, the game, it leans towards whatever the current meta is at the current time. For example, during Call of Brine Eruption Overcharge, the game was objectively Killer-sided. It was so much easier to win as Killer during that patch. During Original Circle of Healing, during, Fast Track, like right now, it's easier to win as Survivor. Just straight up it is. Fast Track is such an extremely overpowered perk that the game just leans towards Survivor right now. But like I said, it's not necessarily due to the base mechanics of Dead by Daylight or anything like that. It's due to the fact that the particular perk meta at that time is not fair. So that's really like the secret of like the balancing. It's whatever the current perks being used by the majority of players, and if those perks are overpowered or not. And right now, I would say it leans towards Survivor. So like, again, this is going to be mostly fixed in terms of next patch, because Fast Track will be nerfed and we back down to a pretty balanced level. Honestly, one of the takeaways I've kind of like learned from reflecting on this is that the game is pretty remarkably balanced right now. Like there's not too many crazy outliers anymore. And even the outliers who do have like, like Blight, for example, is getting nerfed. And then, Fast Track is getting nerfed. Like they're actually hitting a pretty decent balancing point, and it's kind of making it so like there's really not too much to talk about. You might have noticed I've only uploaded like 2 videos in the past 11 days, because really, I already talked about Fast Track, already talked about Blight. Not much else to talk about, which is a good sign for the game. Bad sign for me, but kind of a good sign for the game. And it is nice to see that, the game is reaching a point, at least right now, where nothing is really crazy. As long as we remove these big outliers, the entire game becomes a lot easier to balance overall, and they might initially seem like unfair changes or nerfs to whatever your current role is, but the point is, the closer we get to scrunching everything towards the middle in terms of balance, the better chance the entire game has to become balanced. Because like I said, if you nerf a map because Blight's too strong, then the rest of the roster suffers, and if you buff a map, the reverse happens. So it just depends entirely on how the balance is at the current moment. And after the next couple of changes in the next patch, I do actually think we're going to be in a pretty damn good spot. And overall, I don't think anyone's going to have to like super sweat either side, but at least as it is right now, I completely understand killers having to sweat their ass off, because yeah, Fast Track, absolutely miserable perk to go against. Like I would have games where I was completely shitting on people and still losing like almost all of my gens. And you might say, oh, almost all your gens, you still won. Yeah, I have 73 trillion hours in this game, and I'm playing against people with 10 hours in the game. It shouldn't be that close. Like it actually shouldn't be. I know that sounds like an elitist thing to say, but just straight up, in those, massive hour mismatches, it shouldn't be that close. I should be completely shitting on them. So, I mean, I know that sounds entitled, but that's because I literally play the game for a living, and I'm not the standard at which the game should be balanced or judged or anything like that. I want to make that completely clear. But overall, yeah, my experience playing Super Sweaty was not particularly great. Half my games, people just giving up. The other half were people complaining, even though they were bringing equally sweaty shit. It's just an uninteresting time, and frankly, I don't know how the fuck people do it every day. I don't get it. So I'm already bored of doing that. I gotta find something else to do. But that was my experience playing like a super sweat lord. Thanks for watching. See you next time.